For the majority of human existence, we've been going barefoot or been wearing very simple moccasin-like footwear. And it's only really relatively recently have we been binding up our feet in these strange contraptions that studies are now showing are not particularly good for our feet or our health. So is there a benefit of going a bit more natural? Well, join me in this video as I talk about the potential benefits of going bare feet, as well as my own experience of wearing simple shoes from my Scottish ancestry. I also discuss some modern footwear that you can wear every day that have been shown to improve your posture, improve the health of your feet and efficiency of movement. So stay tuned and let's get started. Hi folks, Tom from Fandabi Dozi. Thanks for tuning in. So you might be thinking, what does walking bare feet and minimalist footwear got to do with the subjects I cover in this channel? Well, let me explain. Basically, I first became aware of the benefits of going barefoot and minimalist footwear in terms of reducing injuries while running. And I suffer from a repetitive strain injury in my right knee, so I became interested in it through that. However, it was only when I started the Highlander series and I started to do little expeditions wearing my homemade moccasin style shoes did I start to experience walking in minimalist footwear myself, and I did start to sort of experience some of the benefits. However, if I wore my moccasins all the time, they're not the most practical things in terms of grip, and I would start to get pretty strange looks from people. So I wondered if there was a sort of modern option. So I contacted a minimalist footwear company, a British company called Freet, and asked them if they could help me out, and they very kindly sent me 2 pairs of shoes, and these 2 pairs of shoes have been my main footwear for the last 3 or 4 months. So it's been really interesting to experience this kind of modern take, and I'll briefly talk about some of the benefits that companies like Freet and other companies talk about. The benefits of basically going a bit more minimalist with your footwear. So let's talk about how our feet have actually evolved, because they're surprisingly complex. We have 26 bones in each foot with lots and lots of muscles and tendons and things that we just don't really use when we're wearing modern restrictive footwear. And my toes are quite close together because I've had a lifetime of wearing modern shoes. But actually our ancestors' toes would have been much more spread apart, and they would have been using all of those hundreds of little muscles and tendons within the foot to give them better grip, allow them to run more efficiently, give them better balance. And these are all sort of things that we've started to lose with modern footwear. A good way to put this in perspective is, imagine my hand, right? My hand and wrist. There's lots and lots of little bones, there's muscles, there's tendons. I use this hand every day, so it's, you know, it's pretty strong, it's pretty healthy, it does lots of movements, it can do many things. However, if I broke my hand, broke my wrist, and I had to put a cast on it, and it was rigid for weeks on end, and then when I take the cast off, if you were even just taking the fact out that I'd broken a bone, you know, the fact that I hadn't been using all those complex muscles and tendons would have meant that I have weakened my hand. I've lost motor control in my hand. So the problem with modern shoes is that they're acting like that sort of cast, and if you look at especially a lot of your kind of smart shoes, they're not the shape of a human foot. They're very, very narrow, and it causes our toes to squeeze together, and it's actually producing lots of foot problems in modern society. Now again, I'm not saying all modern footwear are bad. I mean, for example, these are my old hiking boots. I walk the length of Scotland in them. I'm very, very fond of them. But you know, they are a big cast. They don't let my foot move. My toes are squeezed together, and you know, they're designed to do that, and there is benefits of that when you're walking in rough terrain. But the point is, they really restrict all the movement of all those little bones that we have evolved to use to help us run and to balance and to be more connected to the landscape that we're walking on. Another downside to modern footwear is that most of them have got some sort of raised heel, and this is again not natural to how we're supposed to stand. And you know, years and years of wearing footwear like this has been proven to cause joint problems, cause posture problems, back injuries, and a lot of research in the sort of running shoes is what happens is that we're evolved to run on the balls of our feet, you know, striking the earth with the center of our foot. But when you wear shoes with a big heel, or modern running shoes, then we tend to want to heel strike. And I'm guilty of this, and I think that's how I injured my knee. Before I talk about my moccasins and modern barefoot shoes, let's just talk about plain old bare feet and some of the benefits of it. Now, when I was researching my Highlander series, I found out that people in the Highlands were going barefoot the majority of the time, even in winter. Now obviously people have had things like ghillie brogues, simple pamputis they were called, moccasin like shoes, and if you were wealthy, and later on in history people were starting to go towards more like a modern shoe. You know, reading about people going barefoot most of the time made me want to try it out, and you know what I found out pretty quickly is that my feet have been stuck up in modern footwear most of their life, not conditioned at all, so obviously pretty painful most of the time, pretty cold and painful. But one of the main benefits of just going bare feet as it is, au natural, is a thing called earthing. Now, earthing is basically walking in your bare feet on any of nature's natural surfaces, whether it's bare soil, grass, sand. Surprising studies about some of the benefits of just doing that. For example, it's been proven to help improve your sleep and natural cycles. Been proven to strengthen your immune system, and also it's been shown to reduce stress and anxiety. Now that's something I talked about in my benefits of foraging video, and I put a link to a study where they've actually found that just getting your hands into the soil has been shown to reduce stress. And then generally, because you know you've got your bare skin on the earth, you're just generally picking up more information. And now sure, my feet aren't very conditioned, I have to go very slowly, but in a way that's a positive. It allows you to slow down and really notice your environment and be aware of exactly what you're stepping on. So the obvious disadvantages of going bare feet is, you know, the likelihood of you injuring your toes, stepping on thorns and them getting cold. So, you know, our human ancestors came up with ways of getting around that, with very basic footwear, often made out of animal hide, tree barks, wood, vegetation, lots of different materials. Now, for my Scottish ancestors and my research for the Highlander series, you know, as I said, people were going bare feet, but people did also wear basic footwear called pamputis, which were actually still worn right up to the 20th century. They're very, very basic shoe made from rawhide with a sort of drawstring around the edge, and you would just wear them until they wore through, and then you would make another pair. And the sort of famous simple footwear are things you'd call moccasins. There's a bit of controversy about where the word moccasin comes from. There is an interesting connection that the Gaelic word for my foot is Moccasin. Anyway, besides the point, it's something for you to argue over in the comments. Now, the design I followed was actually a Native American design, but pretty similar to the pamputis, where you know you just put your foot on a bit of leather, draw around it, have excess so you can wrap around your foot, stitch up the middle, stitch up the back. So this gave me some protection from the wet, from the cold, but because the heels are so minimalist, it's stopping me from doing that heel strike, which is bad for my joints. I still need to step carefully, I need to avoid pointy rocks, I still need to avoid big thorns, so it's causing me to be more aware of my environment. When I run, again, it's forcing me to go away from that heel strike and run how I've evolved to run, which is on the balls of my feet. Another benefit for minimalist footwear, whether it's these moccasins or some of the more modern types I'll talk about in a second, is because it's making you step more carefully, you're actually being much more stealthy, and you're actually reducing damage on the environment. If I'm stomping around in my big modern hiking boots with solid soles, you know, I break the soil, I break the mycorrhizas in the earth, and you know, I'm making a very obvious footprint. But when I'm wearing these, I'm actually damaging the environment less, and as I said, being more stealthy. So I know of hunters in the modern day that they might hike into a location with their modern shoes, but then when it comes down to actually stalking the animal, will change to moccasins. so they're much more quiet and they're much more likely to get close to their game. So although I'm very fond of my moccasins, they have all these downsides. They have absolutely no sole at all. They're very, very slippy. This got me thinking, can I benefit from some of the things I experienced walking and running in my moccasins, but more practical for everyday use in civilization? And that's what got me interested in more modern minimalist footwear. And this is where Freet came and helped me out. First of all, I'm not being sponsored by them. They're not paying me to show these shoes. I just emailed a few companies and Freet were very kind to reply to me and send me a couple of pairs to try out. So the idea of modern minimalist footwear or barefoot shoes is that they're shoes that fit the natural shape of your foot. You know, they have a solid rubber sole, so it's still going to give you grip, it's still going to protect you from broken glass and things like that, but it's very, very flexible. Because the sole is flat, it's much better for your posture, better for your joints. So Freet very kindly sent me 2 pairs of shoes. They sent me these little black and red ones called Connect 2s, and I've been wearing these as sort of more everyday shoe, but they also sent me a pair of their boot styles, which are called the Moodies. And you know, I've tried these out a lot. I've been wearing these out hiking. I climbed the curved ridge on Buccleuch Moor. I've done some big hikes in them. I've done a hike in the Cairngorms, so I really tested them out. So bear in mind, this is the only sort of brand of modern minimalist footwear I've ever tried, so I can't really compare them with other brands, but my general experience is that they've been really good, really comfy. They're very grippy on rock. When I did curved ridge in the Moodies, you know, it was dry rock, really super grippy, but both soles are not all that good in the mud. I was sort of slipping all over the place when I'm in a muddy place, so that's the sort of downside. Now, out of the 2 pairs, I've generally been wearing the Moodies more because, you know, they're closer to a hiking boot, they're waterproof, and they, you know, they provide more warmth and protection for your feet. And you know, I've still noticed creeping around the woods in them and running around, you're still getting that feedback from the earth. They're still much more stealthy than modern big thick hiking boots. But generally good experience. I'll put a link to Freet's website in the description below. You can check them out, but there's also lots of other brands. So thanks so much for watching, folks. Hope you enjoyed the video. I encourage everyone to take off your shoes once in a while and go bare feet in nature. I think that's generally good for everybody. I also encourage people to make your own moccasins. That's also a useful skill. And, you know, check out some modern minimalist footwear. That sort of stuff might interest you, because, you know, they're super comfy. And so big thanks to Freet for helping me out in this video. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Cheers, folks. Catch you later.